Alrighty guys, we're back for generic red deck wins, and this is a Murders at Karlov Manor Standard brew, and I'm Red Cat. Let's briefly go over the deck, then hop right into some ranked. It's generic for a reason. We got 4 Kumano faces Kakkazan, 4 Monastery Swiftspear, 4 Monstrous Rage, 4 Phoenix Chick, 4 Play with Fires. I slipped a Shock here too, that's nice. We got a Reckless Impulse, this can also be Ren's Resolve. We got 4 Lightning Strikes naturally, a couple Feldons, and this one is actually going for 4 Bloodthirsty Adversaries too. There's actually a few different ways to put mono red together. This happens to be the way that has Bloodthirsty Adversary. What I like about Adversary is when you end up flooding out just even a little bit, then Bloodthirsty Adversary becomes a devastating top deck for the opponent. There's also going to be Goddric style mono red too, so I am opting for all 4 Goddrics. Even though it's legendary, I do honestly believe that it is that important for these style of builds. So yeah, all 4 of them. Rocking that single Squee, that'll do a thing, and then a couple Witchstalker Frenzies on the top end too, and that'll also do a thing, huh? Got a couple Mishra's Foundries, a Crucible of Defiance for a total of 21 mana, which should totally be enough. Look at this curve. That is a curve that only an aggro player can love, huh? Alright guys, no honorable mentions. Like I said, there's a few different ways to put mono red together, but I called it generic for a reason. We're just kind of doing this to have fun before the new set releases. So yeah, let's go ahead, take it into some ranked, and see how we do. Alright, we'll see if we can get right into the first game here. In the meantime, what am I expecting from the build? Oh, buddy, it's gonna be good. I'm excited to get some wins. It'll be nice. It'll be nice for a change, you know what I mean? No, we'll see, we'll see. A lot of people are building around mono red and around Boros too, so we might honestly have some uphill battles. Alright, totally keepable, right? Turn 1 Kumano and turn 2 Bloodthirsty Adversary has always been good. Also going first. Very nice. Kumano pokes for 1. I wonder how many people will concede today. So we get around a cut down here. That's good news. Swing for 3. Kumano flips next turn, and we're sitting pretty with this hand, I would say, as long as our creatures can survive the round too. Could be Field. Could be Skullcap Snail, huh? Oh. We exile a card from our hand. I guess the Mountain, but like if we see Goddric off the top, I'll cry myself to sleep. Never mind. I'll get rid of, well, okay. That's actually tough. But I guess I'll get rid of the... No, I'll get rid of Play with Fire. Here's why. If we don't see a 3-mana card off the top, Monstrous Rage. Yeah, the double Monstrous Rage should be pretty good, especially since they just have a chump blocker there, which I do believe they take the chump. It's well worth the risk of a Rage. But the thing about mono red is it's always Monstrous Rage, and we're just going for it too. Do I do it again? 10. No, but I am concerned we're going to discard this Rage. But we'll see what happens. It probably gets discarded, but like if I play it now just for 2 extra damage, yeah, and then they don't play something that makes us discard, that would feel pretty bad, right? So we fizzled out pretty fast, huh? We're going to have to figure out a way to do that last 6. They get rid of the biggest creature first. Then we only have 5 on the etching, so any of our burn off the top would be good. Any of our 3-mana cards, of course, right? But now Goddric won't go into the air if we see it off the top. It appears we put the opponent in a sticky situation here. With only 3 mana. Like, a couple things would be the best. Liliana, probably the sacrifice. If we sacrifice etching, we have lethal on the board. If they go discard, then we have lethal on the board. So, we sacrifice etching. There we go. Monstrous Rage will do the last 2. Oh, that also works as well. I guess both work, right? So triple Monstrous Rage, that's one. Lightning Strike off the top was really good. Oh, check out that deck win rate so far, huh? 71%. But now we only played one on video. Looks like I played 6 games before just on my own. Nice. Every now and then I go to generic mono red if I want to like quickly get back up to the bottom of platinum where I like to sit nice and pretty. I wouldn't even consider those test games, really. That was just playing the game. Like I said, new sets coming out really, really soon. Just kind of doing this for funsies. I do wonder, of course, whenever a new set drops, the first thing I like to do is change up mono red a little bit, see like what the new red cards look like and whatnot. So I wonder how much we can change it up, and I wonder if it's still going to be Goddric style mono red that I go with. Haven't really decided yet. All right. I see nothing wrong with this hand. Pretty much any draws off the top make this hand excellent. I'm going to start with Kumano just to get that flip sooner. And turn 2 double Phoenix Chick is pretty good. Okay, more mana off the top isn't terrific. But I guess overall we don't mind seeing 4. If we see a 5th off the top too, like Bloodthirsty Adversary at any point will be really good. Mano flips next turn. Not removal, that's good, but a little bit of life gain could go a long way for the opponent. Swiftspear. Alright, I mean, we just go for it, right? What are the odds that they wipe the board? Is it high? Oh, it might be high, actually. It might be a really good chance to wipe the board. Should I play around a board wipe then? 2, we'll have 5 extra damage going through in hand. 10 damage total. I should play around it though. Slowing down with mono red is not the greatest, but every now and then it is necessary, as temporary lockdown has been a thing, and in Orzhov colors especially, Path of Peril has been a thing too, and it's all Boros' fault, guys. It really is. So yeah, Path of Peril, there it is, right on time. So I think we're just going to keep the Lightning Strike back too, as we have extra damage with the Swiftspear then, if we don't see anything else off the top. Oh, more mana, okay. Well, we're going for maximum amount of damage for the turn then. Yep. Not terrible. Now Bloodthirsty Adversary becomes a terrific top deck for the rest of the game now that we have the 5th mana too. Too bad we don't have some utility land though. Liliana gets rid of the Swiftspear, easy peasy.
Nobody knows Dominaria's shadows.
That's weird. Why'd the timer pop up? We were both playing relatively fast, right? Alright, so swinging face or swinging Liliana? Liliana could become an issue. Swinging face, bringing down to 6 could be good too. Now we should probably... Alright, hopefully we don't get them down to 2 and then cry about it, right? But I think taking care of Liliana now, while the +1 next turn doesn't affect us at all, the -2 will eventually affect us, which would be devastating. Oh, instead of generating a 2/3 here... Oh, they do find some mana, though. Feldon. Feldon number 2. There's only 2 in here, so that is not a terrific top deck. These Planeswalkers taking a lot of pressure off of the opponent's face. We want to make it so that way if Sorin goes -2, it gets poked by a top deck Kumano. That would be terrific, right? And we still have 3 Kumanos in the list. Some other hasty creatures wouldn't be bad. Eventually bring back the Phoenix Chick since we have so much mana on this board, you know?
Dire times call for dire tactics.
They do go +1 on the Sorin, probably knowing about the threat of a top deck Kumano. Deep Cavern Bat picking up that Feldon. Yeah, Feldon was a really bad draw there. Not the first Feldon, of course. Okay, they grab a Plains with the Restoration. Evolved Sleeper. I'd say we're in danger, huh? Ooh, Goddric's pretty good. We full swing at Sorin. They just have to chump one of them. It's still going to be a full swing at Sorin too, though, huh? Right, we need to get rid of this threat. This looming threat of lifelink in the air. So they have to chump at least one, or let the Sorin die. Okay, so they chump the Goddric. Sorin's down to 2, so it's probably going to be another plus off the Sorin then, because they probably won't go -2 unless they have another Sorin in hand. I want to bring back here they go for the land. Is mana value 2 or less, they could have brought back the Sleeper tapped as well. They wanted the life gain land here. Truly anyone's game. I think it is leaning towards the opponent heavily now. Oh, buddy, is it ever leaning towards the opponent?
Nobody deserves these blades more than Phyrexia.
They want to hit this Goddric for sure. Oh, they go for the life gain.
You're not safe.
They're a way through. They go for the swing. They're up to 13. There isn't a way through if we see one of our legendaries, huh? Oh, no. That's bad, dude. That's really bad. Any of our other hasty creatures could have been really good here. But taking out... So aiming at the Planeswalkers is still going to be pretty good. We're in so much trouble. Wait a minute. Oh, yeah. Exile a creature in... Yeah, okay. For a second there, I was thinking something else happened, but... So Restoration flips into a 3/4 wonderful blocker next turn. I wonder if we're even going to get a chance to keep this second Goddric in hand, huh? So unfortunately, like, I opted for the 4 Goddric, thinking it's going to be very important to see this on time. But in situations like this, when we're seeing repetitions of our legendary creatures, it happens to be really, really bad then. Okay, they're back up to 18. Easy peasy, huh? That top ability is a +2 on Kaya, which is wild. Maybe at that point. Oh no, another Goddric. Well, I guess it is what it is, huh? So we might as well, I guess we'll swing at Kaya. They just let it go through. They definitely don't want us to see 3 off the top with the Feldon. Well, I guess they'll block and get a 1/1. Either way, this is the opponent's for sure now. But I do want to play it out, see what we can see. Wow. There's some cards, huh? At that point, I suppose taking out the Architect isn't bad. Which would probably just be, I guess the Lightning Strike would make the most sense. Since it casts it, goes to the grave, and Lightning Strike's better to take out of the grave with the Bloodthirsty Adversary, right? So down to 6.
Just give up already.
They can power up Restless Fortress here and get a... Oh, Breach the Multiverse. I wonder what they hit from us here. Our last Goddric? Our last Goddric would be game, actually. It is! The 4th Goddric. Dude. Wait, they missed off of theirs? Or what did they end up... Oh, okay. They hit a Liliana. Hey, good game, opponent. Yeah. I truly believe that was anyone's, honestly. But Orzhov Planeswalkers happens to be pretty decent. I'm trying to look at the opponent's grave here real quick. This first Path to Peril, yeah, I think playing around it was key. Unfortunately, playing around it didn't end up helping us out at all. And I do wonder if there was something in those early turns where we potentially could have gotten that last bit of damage through. Like, instead of swinging at the Planeswalkers for a few turns, maybe, but if you're not swinging at the Planeswalkers, it changes how they activate the Planeswalker abilities too, and so getting any of those 2/3 lifelink creatures from, like, that Sorin, for example, could have been really, really bad. Woo! All right. Go first here. This is a terrific hand. Don't mind this at all. I always like seeing, like, even though you don't mind seeing, like, a whole bunch of instants and stuff with the Swiftspear, I always like seeing a 1 and 2 creature, you know what I mean? Get that Feldon down. At this point, okay, they're going to go for removal on the Swiftspear right away. Okay. Crucible of Defiance. Just going to swing with Mishra. They're tapped out, so there's no threat of it being removed. Yeah, Mishra's Foundry swinging in isn't a terrible turn, I would say, especially when we don't know if this burn is going to have to take out threatening creatures. Bloodthirsty Adversary. Probably best to keep that back, right? The trade into the Foundry is really bad. We'll have 1 mana open, so Witchstalker Frenzy will cost 2 if we swing. That's not enough. So I guess we swing and see what they do. Because a block isn't terrible. So we see 2 here. Oh, they're gonna let it go through. Okay. That isn't terrible. We could play Crucible. We could have played Crucible in general. But I think we just keep our burn spells open. Hopefully take out like a lifelink creature that they're kind of relying on here for turn 4. Gonna be a tapped mana for turn 4. A Steel Seraph. We should definitely hit that before combat. Lightning Strike over the Witchstalker Frenzy, because I still think that 5 damage can come in handy here. They don't plan on blocking, they should swing. They go for the swing. Passes back. We do have Bloodthirsty Adversary, 4/5, swing for 5, hit Lightning Strike to face. Or we could go Lightning Strike to Overseer. Nah, it's everything to face, especially now that we saw another Lightning Strike here, right? That's pretty good. Bloodthirsty Adversary, a 3. Lightning Strike. Lightning Strike face. Down to 11. Swing for 5. Alright, guys. Lifelink for the opponent would be huge for them, and it is pretty likely, I would say. Angels, huh? Yeah, Lightning Helix might be a 4 of in the build, too. Another Steel Seraph. Steel Seraph might be a 4 of in the build, you know what I mean? Give that lifelink before the swing. Oh, I totally forget what the Angel does. That comes in face down, but we should totally be concerned about that. So we have the power up on Mishra's Foundry. We go for a full swing. We could get absolutely blown out by a Lightning Helix, right? I think so. A Lightning Helix, because of their blocks too, is what I'm getting at. It's a tough decision, man. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to go for that full swing. Any extra damage that slips through. So Witchstalker Frenzy is going to take out the Overseer first of all. Nice. We got the swing before any removal hit, which was essential for the Witchstalker Frenzy to do the thing. So any amount of extra damage getting through here could put Lightning Strike at lethal for next turn. So that's kind of the main goal. Gonna be a get lost. Okay, they have a great block into the Mishra's Foundry, but if they take 5, better for us. All right, down to 1. They need to gain at least 4 or 3 here. They need to go up to 4 is what I was getting at. Go up to 4 and have blockers available. So I guess Lightning Helix would be enough. With map tokens, we go ahead and flip it. It is the Vindicator. Oh, the Vindicator has lifelink. Yeah. Yeah, that brings him up to 5. Luckily, we do have 5. Thank goodness, right? Mistress Foundry coming in handy for sure. Swing for 2. We could have also activated. We also could have activated a map token there if we needed to attempt to get an extra one, right? So, yeah, Vindicator's a scary card, dude. I kind of want to read that real quick because when I played with it, I loved it. But when it was face down there, I totally forgot like what all was on the Angel that has Disguise. So they went X is 2, right? So when it's turned face up, exile up to X other target creatures from the battlefield and or creature cards from graveyards too. And then when this leaves the battlefield, you return the exiled cards to their owner's hands. It's actually just really cool, huh? And the fact that you can kind of be like, surprise, a lifelink flying ward too. And the ward too, man, huh? Cool. A good game. 20 minutes in. It's going well, I would say. Let's keep the ball rolling. So overall, as far as generic mono red goes, like this style of mono red especially is pretty fun to play. Like we call it generic because like we see it a lot. We see it all the time. We see these cards all the time. We barely had to go over them because, you know, the opponents have a ball winning with them. But like in general, like just the overall thought process from turn to turn. It's just really fun. It's one of the reasons why I love mono red, of course. Yeah, as far as flooding goes, I'm pretty good at flooding out. So going for like the Bloodthirsty Adversary side of things here, I feel like that just really fits how I like to draw. So a Bloodthirsty Adversary for the turn trade into Underdog isn't bad. We should do it. Right? What it does is it lets Goddric come down, and Underdog also trades into Goddric, is the thing. So a trade into Adversary is much better. Oh, speaking of trading into Goddric, Trespasser is going to be pretty bad for Adversary overall. We go turn 4. We go turn 4 Goddric instead. We have Bloodthirsty Adversary, Monstrous Rage is a combat trick. They probably let it go through. We likely won't have anything in our graveyard if that Trespasser survives anyways. This is very risky because we are going for a 2-for-1 and a little bit of extra damage. They do not accept that trade because of the lifelink most likely. So it ends up working out nicely because we will have that turn 4 Goddric in the air then. And that's enough mana for the rest of the game. We can literally see anything else here and be happy about it. Witchstalker Frenzy especially. Nothing in the graveyard, so luckily no life gain. Alright, let's see what we see. Lightning Strike. Okay, Lightning Strike's good. So if we go Goddric, they'll block the Goddric. They accept that trade, I would say. So if we go, first of all, Mountain, right? If we go Monstrous Rage onto the Bloodthirsty Adversary, we might be able to get through on the ground nicely. If we go Goddric full swing. Yeah, the block has to be the Goddric, so we want Goddric in the air beforehand. Maybe we just focus air then. They're going to gain 2 here regardless. I'd really like to get rid of their Shieldred, but it seems better just to get everything in the air. Let's not put all our eggs in one basket too. I think putting that onto the Phoenix Chick is best case. Go down to 8, back up to 10. We have an emergency chump blocker on the ground, I suppose, right? See, it's these kind of like little decisions and little calculations that happen to just be really fun when you're playing mono red, you know? And like, yeah, these decisions exist in other lists, but I don't know, there's just something, you guys know what I mean? I mean, you're here, so you probably know what I mean. You're here watching a generic red deck wins video, so yeah, you're probably right there with me. So I say We take the 6, we risk it all, we see what we see off the top. It might be Crucible for the turn, kick Goddric back into the air, and a full swing might be worthwhile. So we are going down to 6 here. It is now or never. Also, if the opponent has another trump blocker, okay, that is pretty bad. They're going up to 10, by the way, because of the draw on the underdog, too. Okay. All right, Kumano. Not bad. But what do I want to do? We want to get Goddric into the air. The only way to get Goddric in the air is going to be Crucible, and then we're going to have to keep everything else back. Swing for 6, down to 4, up to 6 off of Sheoldred, up to 8 if they blitz back underdog. But they do pay the 2 for the underdog, so. All right. Oh, it's only 3. Oh, thank goodness. Okay. That's right. That's right. Goddric's legendary. I sometimes I forget about that. So if we have Kumano for only 1 extra is getting through. Okay, so it's 6. Other words, it would be 7, 8. So we have chump blockers on the ground, which we're desperately going to need. Opponent goes down to 3, back up to 5. Yeah, I don't think there was a way to get that excess damage through there. Not with this extra blocker. Otherwise, if they didn't play this 1 mana card and they only had 1 blocker, it would have been 3 getting through there on the ground off the full swing, right? Instead of just the 1. I mean that would have been terrific, but what are they thinking? And they get that 6 through. They only need to get 4 through, by the way. Go for Evolved Sleeper, so they're not blitzing back the underdog. That's probably good news for us. They go for it. They're going down to 4 here. They're going back up to 6. Okay, yeah, Sheoldred doing the Sheoldred thing. But we have blocks. We're good to go with blocks, yeah. We just... Oh. They're going to keep theirs back, so we still have the turn. With a full swing with Mishra's Foundry, if we see mana off the top here. Okay. So we can... Oh, no, we can't. Whew, that was close. Okay, yeah, we are forced. Yeah, the Trespasser also did a damage to us. So we can't take the 3, other words we lose from the Sheoldred. Oh, actually attempting double block to take care of that Trespasser, but nah, that's okay. So can we do 7 damage? Let's see what we see off the top here. Mana. Down to 3. Well, it's literally now or never. They have great blockers. We can't get 7 through, can we? Well, we need to get 4 through and the Lightning Strike. Keep the Lightning Strike a secret. We start with powering up the Foundry, of course, right? They block Goddric. 2's getting in the air there. Wait. I think we got that lethal, guys. I think 4 gets through and then Lightning Strike ends it. Oh, 5 gets through, actually. Oh, nice. It actually went wide enough here. Beautiful stuff, huh? Lightning Strike coming in handy. Total deck win rate so far is 70% with a total of that many games. 10 games. Nice. Now, we didn't play 10 games on video, just in case you're skipping around the video, right? I played like maybe 6 games with this exact list. They weren't really test games. They were just me playing. So I think we got 4 games in video so far, which is actually some pretty slow games as far as mono red goes, right? We're already 30 minutes in. So hopefully we'll get 1 or 2 more in, and hopefully we'll also be able to end on a high note as well. Win or lose, I mean, there's not a whole lot to say about the build overall. Like, we can't just say like, oh yeah, more testing required. I think mono red has been tested enough, right? Now, this version of mono red should be completely fine. Which I suppose is my own personal version, but you know, it's still generic for a reason. Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, game. Settle down there. I don't know what that was about. Lagging out, I suppose. Kumano. Alright, mirror match and we went first. That's terrific. Now we just need to see some more goodies, huh? Keeping Play with Fire and Shock open is totally fine, I suppose. Maybe, I mean, both of these... Well, Kumano helps their creature get around it regardless, unless it, for some reason it's going to have 1 toughness. We could double down on Swiftspear, but probably not. We're going to go face. I'm probably going to keep Shock back, though. Go Play with Fire to face. And keep Shock in hand. Kumano. Okay. I'm going to keep it because I think every little bit matters. Yeah, we're going to keep that around. So their Kumano flips next turn, and overall, pretty slow start for us, I would say. What do you guys think? Like 8 damage. 8 damage is fine on turn 3, but like it feels pretty slow. A Reckless Impulse. Alright, Witchstalker. Very nice. More mana, not great. So power up Foundry. Swinging for 6, hitting with Kumano, or keeping Shock open. We'll probably go Kumano. We'll swing for 4. We could easily... Give me 1 second, opponent. Solving the riddle, huh? So if we swing for 6, I think we keep Mishra's Foundry for next turn. We're going to go Kumano to get this flipped a little bit sooner here. Unfortunately, no way to get Goddric that extra little boost, but luckily we don't have to go in the air anyways. What we end up doing is we keep the Shock open as well as the Foundry in case, like, we can either go, okay, we could use that emergency blocker now, or use Shock to take care of the etching, which is a possibility, or they risk a swing and then we just shock their face down to 5 and we're probably, yeah, I was going to say at that point we'd be looking pretty good. I can only imagine that the opponent would concede there based on whether or not they had their 3rd mana maybe, right? Because if they didn't have their 3rd, they might be pretty far behind. Like if they take their whole turn to go Lightning Strike onto Goddric and then swing for, it would be 5 at that point, we'd be down to 7. But we're still 1 turn ahead since we went first there too, so. All right, not bad. But I think in that one especially, I think we could have drawn a little bit better, right? And so far we are seeing a lot of mana, 21 mana. And we're often getting to that point where we have 5, or we're gonna have 5 in a turn, right? Like, that's fine because we don't mind having 5 with Bloodthirsty Adversary in the build, but at the same time, it does feel like a lot of mana still. We go down to 20, then you're going to hit 5 a lot less, and Bloodthirsty Adversary just happens to just be a 2 mana 2/2 with haste at that point, which you're still not too sad about, but still. So a turn 2 Reckless Impulse is possible. We might get punished with double mountains off the top, but that wouldn't be too bad. Might also be a risky hand for the last game of the evening. Mountain. Yeah, I guess at that point, if we see double land off the Reckless Impulse, it isn't terrible, right? Like, we're not going to need 6. We do actually find another mountain over there, though, so we will have 5 when it comes time for Adversary, if that's what we want to end up doing. The opponent's pretty happy about this slow start for us. Yeah, that's bad news. Novice Inspector. Alright, they're getting ready. So mountain from over here, because we don't want to waste that Reckless Impulse. Oh yeah, guys, we're lagging. Uh-oh. Should probably wrap up the video before it all crashes, right? A double block into Swiftspear is pretty good for them, and if they do, I think they just take the 1. We're in trouble no matter what. We're going to swing with this Swiftspear. They probably just let it through, yeah. And then we're going to go for maximum damage. Wait, all maximum? Yeah. Yeah, complete maximum damage, because we could die in no time, dude. We don't need that mountain. Hello. Down to 10. Let's see if we end up dying here, huh? Do I have a wave emote? Evangelist. Very nice. Down to 14. Ooh, Phoenix Chick is pretty good. That's really good. But do we die next turn? Very likely. Oh man, I don't know why my game's lagging so much. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 with the Evangelist. Maybe they chump. Very unlikely. They could just take the 7 and win off the swing. The Phoenix Chick can't block, first of all. 2. We get the 1 through. Have 2 blockers on the ground. If they take care of one of the blockers, or if they buff this board state wide again. Unfortunately, guys, I am going to try, like, as much as I love swinging on in, I am actually going to try to survive here. They go for the block. That's good for us. Less creatures on their board to get buffed by the Evangelist is good. Barbarian Epicure, it's not removal. That's good news, right? Down to 13. Could still be a case, though. 3rd mana. Another Gleeful Demolition. Yeah, swinging with the Goddric in the air. It looks like they were more than willing to chump the 4/4 anyways. A Bloodthirsty Adversary. We could bring back the Monstrous Rage. Monstrous Rage onto itself. Goddric gets in the air. At some point, the opponent's ready to just completely swing wide, buff the wide board state with that Evangelist. You know what this is? Resolute Reinforcements, likely. Okay, Bloodthirsty Adversary. I think this is very likely Reinforcements. I think they're going to have all the blocks they need here. So, first things first, we want to get Goddric into the air. We want to put that Trample onto the Adversary. Boost the Swiftspear. They drop the GGs. I don't believe it's GGs. Oh, they mean for them. Oh, down to 8. Yeah, they mean for them, right? Well, either way, we full swing. We don't have the Phoenix Chick. We finally have 3 creatures on the board, but we're tapped out. I don't think it's GGs. They have enough blockers here, right? Right? Well, their Novice Inspectors are better to block the trampling. 4 goes through in the air. Oh, wow, they're really plugging these in. So I guess we'll take care of you and you. That's fine. Okay. Everyone's dying here too. So wait, they're taking 3, 7. And they dropped the GGs, so I'm concerned. I'm concerned that they're still gonna buff this board state somehow. Kumano could end it, so they're gonna get 1. We're at 13, so yeah, we could easily die. Easily, bro. Getting the opponent down to 1. I wonder if I missed a damage somewhere throughout this one. Oh, they're filtering. They're filtering. Nice. Oh no, opponent. I mean, technically you're not dead yet because you have a blocker for Goddric and you don't know we have Kumano. But yeah, I guess they ended up dropping the GGs for us, huh? Kumano. Very good game, opponent. I actually didn't end up dropping them the GG, so I feel a little bad. Oh, buddy, look at that. Overall deck win rate 75%. That looks pretty clean with all of these. Again, I don't want to call them test games because I was just playing for fun. But with all those green arrows up there, it looks pretty nice, huh? let's go ahead and go over the deck list one more time. About 40 minutes in, and we're lagging a lot in game, so I'm kind of afraid everything's going to crash on me. If I lost a video with all those victories, I'd be very sad. You know what I mean? Victories are so hard to come by. Here's the deck list again, guys. You can totally see in those games why I actually did opt for all 4 Goddrics. It's kind of ridiculous when it is on the board. It's the one doing the bulk of the lifting. You know what I mean? And everything in here just happens to work really well with Goddric too. Whether it is Monstrous Rage, getting that monster roll on the board, that extra permanent, or Bloodthirsty Adversary, as we saw in that last game, it in and of itself is a permanent, then you can bring back Monstrous Rage for the second permanent. That is a very good turn 5, and you're not sad about it at all when you have that Goddric. And if you only have 3 Goddrics, you are going to miss that line of play every now and then. The double Feldon wasn't great today. Did you drop this down to 1? Yes. Is Feldon still going to do a lot of work all the time? Also, yes. So I think the 2's still worth it. We got a little unlucky in that one game. We drew pretty poorly overall with how we were seeing our legendaries after our legendaries, and then a little bit more legendary sprinkled on top. So it was a silly match, honestly. The extra shock is totally good enough to have in here. Just like an extra thing that just does burn to the opponent's face in general. Yeah, I like it. It's just like, it's just your 5th play with fire, except a little bit worse. The Reckless Impulse was totally fine too. When you're dumping this many 1-drops onto the board every single turn, you're going to just empty your hand so fast. So having that extra little bit of, I don't want to call it card draw. I actually don't know what to call this. Just like replenishing your hand. No, replenishing your plays. There we go. Yeah. Yeah, no, you're not going to be mad about this one Reckless Impulse at all. Do we want 2? Probably not. You also saw in that last one how it was actually pretty slow. It ended up working out nicely for us because we were still able to dish out a whole bunch of explosive damage, but it might not have worked out. We had to get a little bit lucky, honestly. Like, Boros could have just buffed their wide board state, found a little bit of extra damage to ping through. What would it have been for lethal? War Leader's Call, buff their 5 creatures, Valdarin Epicure, 1 damage to us, 1 damage from the War Leader, swing for 10. I guess that wouldn't have done it because we were at like 13, right? Well, either way, I still think we got a little bit lucky that Boros didn't have anything to actually buff their board state there. Also, I guess they could have blocked a little bit more too, but they were kind of rooting for a lethal off the top, I think. You know what I mean? So yeah, all 4 Lightning Strike is going to be necessary too. Absolutely terrific card. Everything from the Kumanos to the Swiftspear to the Rage to the Phoenix Chick, all of that is just like A-okay. We don't have to change anything about this build at all. Double Witchstalker Frenzy is always going to do a thing, man. There's always going to be a nice chunky creature that you're going to like to hit with this, since we have so many creatures too. One thing I do want to mention though, in a Bloodthirsty Adversary style of mono red, Witchstalker Frenzy is in fact a 4-mana card, so you can't take the Witchstalker Frenzy out of the grave as it is mana value 3 or less, but it's totally fine, dude. That is definitely no reason to drop the Witchstalker Frenzies or vice versa, right? There's no reason to drop Bloodthirsty Adversary either, so outside of that, you know, Bloodthirsty Adversary rotating out this year too. If you're going for mono red in general, just another hasty creature will totally do fine. And if you're dropping Bloodthirsty Adversary, like for example, you don't want to use 4 mythic wildcards on it because of the rotation this year, then like just another 2-mana hasty creature that you happen to have on hand will totally be fine. Without adversaries, you could go down to 20 land then instead of having 21 because you don't need to hit the 5 mana as often. That is all definitely noteworthy there. All right, guys, what would you add or take out? What does your mono red list look like? The double Mishra's Foundries was excellent too. I wouldn't go up any, I wouldn't go down any. If you go up too many Mishra's Foundries, what ends up happening is you can't do multiple of your 1-mana things on the same turn. And there's going to be so many moments where you want to go Kumano with a Phoenix Chick, or like, well, literally any of your 1-drops is what I'm getting at. like Swiftspear and a Play with Fire open, all that like is double red. So if you end up seeing too many of your Foundries, then that happens to be pretty bad. So 2 is like a sweet spot for it, where if you do end up only seeing 2 of your Foundries in a mountain, that's a little bit unlucky, you know what I mean? And you might still be able to play it out, but probably not. But at that point, maybe Reckless Impulse can help you find your other mountains and stuff too. The 1 Crucible of Defiance is totally fine as well. If you do like Crucible of Defiance enough, I could totally see 2 of them as well in a build like this. If you are concerned about flooding out, again, if you're like dropping the Bloodthirsty Adversaries for another 2-mana hasty creature that you have on hand, you end up dropping down to 20, you could go down 2 mountains, go up a Crucible, and then what Crucible ends up being is just an extra utility land for when you do end up flooding out with your 20 mana anyways. And then it's not very often that the legendary land actually gets in your way. More often than not, you're just happy to see extra utility in your hand, especially when the double spirits puts that Goddric in the air. But that is only if you end up going down to 20 or end up flooding out way too much. Because outside of that, I'm not changing anything. This is definitely good enough. So I would say, I wonder what mono red might look like after the new set release. I think that mono red doesn't necessarily have to change unless we see some absolutely crazy stuff from the new set. But one set does come out on next Tuesday, I believe. Oh, it's so soon, guys. I'm so excited. When it does come out, the first deck I usually explore is mono red. So it'll be interesting to see how much of this ends up in the new version, or how many of those cards end up changing mono red for me. We'll see, we'll see. All right, guys. Hey, made it this far into the video. Y'all are champions for real. I super duper appreciate you. Make sure you check out that description where we got that Discord link, as well as that Patreon link if you're interested in supporting the channel that way. Okay, hey, I will see you in the next video.